Right, okie dokie. So we're going to move along and we're going to put on our 2 silver bands across the front of the train. So we're going to be using the cold greys for this, and I'm going to start off with cold grey 5, which is number 234. And we're going to start plotting on the darker bits of shadow at the bottom. I'm just going to remove that little bit of graphite there and just give it a little bit of a swipe up here, take away any bits of red that may have worked themselves in. So just come around there. Okie dokie. Right, let's continue. So we're gonna work with the shape of the shadows that we've got. So we can just come along here. And just come around there. Over the top of the wheel here. Just there. And then we want to work with this shape as well, so following this around, just there. And obviously we need to work with the top as well. So I'm just going to start filling in that space now. So small circular motions. Gently just filling in the colour. Working my way around. Let's just come over the top of the wheel again. Just there, okay. Now underneath, as I said, we can't see the underneath, so we've got to look at what's going on in this colour, in this band here, to look at the colour. So what we're going to do is we are going to continue this down to the bottom here. So coming in along that spoke. Just here, around the top there, and we're just filling that colour in there. It's in the shade. Let's give it a nice edge before that highlight at the bottom. And just popping in that space. Okay. Let's come over to here while we've got this colour and do the same over here. So our shadow continues along, comes in here, down to a little bit of a point, and then there's a little bit of a gap, just a tiny bit, and then it continues to the edge. Going all the way along, just there. Okay, I'm going to move to cold grey 4 now, and we're going to come across the middle with cold grey 4. So looking at our shapes here, it's not quite as dark as the bottom. And just looking at the shape, the shadow, it's a bit funny, sort of on a bit of a bend almost. Just filling that in there, just off, and moving across to the other side. Band of colour here. Working upwards, and then start to lighten it off just there, and a little bit down In fact, I'm going to change that. I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to lighten it off. Okay, so just there, and then we're just going to bring a little bit of this in at the top as well. So just at this edge here. Keeping it nice and light. Just to about there. Okay. And along here. Lightly. Let's pop in a bit of this on here. Just there. Okay. Right, okay, now we're going to go to the cold grey 3 and we are going to just add a bit more colour to those areas that we've put down. So let's go over the top of what we've done here. Just nice and gently. Just building it up a little bit. And over here. Okay. Softly up to the top there. Just there, and let's go to our bits in the center. Just gently bring in a little bit there. Through the middle. Okay, and then let's add a little bit to our shadows at the bottom. Darken those up a little bit, add a bit more saturation there. And on this side. And gently does it, okay. And then we're going to bring just a little bit of this colour down through this area here and just a little bit through there. Just nice and soft, okay. And over this side, let's just take it down slightly. Just there. Right, okay. I'm going to go to the cold grey 1 now, and I'm going to start to blend some stuff and use this as a blend layer. Now this area and this area are our brightest highlights, we want to stay away from there. So cold grey 1, and let's start to add some of this in. Just here. Just coming up to the top there, let's just dust off. Always important to dust off, get rid of any bits of pigment that are floating about. Okay, moving down. So I'm coming through the center here. Blending this as you can see, very gently just bringing it slightly up to that white space, just there. And now following down and through this area here, down to our deepest shadow area. I'm actually going to take this through the highlights across the top there, and I'm going to use a little bit of it on this side to just add a little bit of soft light just there. Okay, over to the other side now. So again, let's blend the top. So I'm starting in the pigments, and then just softly bringing it just into the white space, so there's no hard line up to the edge there. And again, let's dust that off. Nice and soft. Okay, into the pigment in the middle. Blending this through, just taking the tiniest bit up again, softly into the white space there, and bringing the rest of it down through here. Just a little bit there. Again, into the shadows, blending this out. A little bit of light at the edge, so we can just gently come inwards with that. Let's take our dusting brush. Okay, now we're going to move to our white, our Pablo white, and we're going to pull this through here. Just lighten the edges of that. Okay. While it's still clean, I want to pull it through the light area here, up into this pigment here, lightening the edge of that, and then here. Got a couple of little areas of light there. I'm just going to hit those. Little one here, just going to drag that through. Just going to pull on that a bit more so it's not, there we go, that's better. I'm going to blend this bit out a little bit more. Make it a little bit more vibrant down here. Up into there. It's looking nice. Just under here. So just looking at everything and deciding what needs what. Little bit through there, tiny little bit in the highlights there. Okay, and now what we need is, let's have a look, we need a little bit of a light edge just going on here. So I'm just going to very softly just blend that out there. Okay, right, we need a little bit of red because there's a tiny little bit of red that's reflected here. So we're going to take, deep red 223, and we're just going to pull a little bit faint through the bottom here. You can just see this red reflected at the bottom there. And again, I'm just going to blend that in with my white Pablo. Give it that pinky colour just there, that's nice. I'm going to stick with this and I'm just going to gently just add a little bit more of an outline to that top area there. I'm going to go to my dark red because once the silver's on you can see everything that you need to pick up on. So dark red 225. You can see where you need to darken, you can see what needs to be lighter. Just darkening that area there. Darkening the inside here. Just there. This edge here needs to be darkened. Just there. These two edges. And this one here. Right, lovely. Okie dokie. I'm just going to go back to the cold grey 4. And I'm just going to very gently just deepen this little bit up here. Very, very gently. Just add a little bit more contrast. A little bit just in the middle there. And just here. A little bit darker in our shadow area. Just there. Then back to my white Pablo. And just making sure that my bright areas are really nice and bright. Right, okay, so I've moved the tracing paper over so that we can start doing this little ball now, and I'm not going to disturb any of the colour that we've already put down. So we're going to start on here with cold grey 6, which is 235. We're going to see how we get on. We may need to put a little bit of black in there, but we'll see how dark we can go with this first of all. And in fact, I'm just going to sharpen it on the sanding block. Give it a nice good point, because we want to be very particular about that edge. And I'm just going to take the putty rubber and get rid of the graphite that comes around that highlight there. Okay, so I don't want that trapped underneath. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it a little bit more. So let's just take it away completely. Right, okie dokie. So let's start to come around the edge here with our nice sharp points. And we are going to ignore the red paint at the bottom of this, because that obviously is just a paint job not well done. So we are going to completely ignore that and pretend that this whole ball is silver. So let's come all the way around to the bottom there. What I really want to concentrate on is making sure that this edge is absolutely spot on. And that's why I wanted that lovely sharp point. Just gonna dust off a little bit. Now, as I said before, we need a bit of depth right at the bottom here, so I'm just going to bring this into our red there and make it slightly darker. Okay, and then we're going to start to bring this up the other side, and then we're going to go very, very gently just there. Okay, nice and very fine over the top. And then we'll start working in just a little bit of depth now, taking it nice and easy. Just working in that dark very, very gently. On a nice soft graduation of colour. I'm just going to adjust the edge there. Deepen it up slightly right on the outside. So it's sitting under that roof, so it's right in the shadow there. Okay, and then we are going to come down to our cold grey 5, and we are going to work a little bit of this in, so we're just going to go very slightly over the top and bring just a little bit of this alongside, working gently into the white space, really gentle with the pencil. Just adding little hints of colour as we build up. Softly over the top there, a little bit further inwards. Okay, moving down, we're going to go to the cold grey 3 now, and we're just going to start to bring this in gently, complete the edge on the ball now. Make any adjustments that need doing. Just looking at the shape here, and I can see that I could do with bringing in a bit more dark now. I'm just gonna put on the rest of this before I do. I'm going back to my cold grey 6, the 235, amping up the depth over here. On this side. I'm going to gently come in a little bit more at the bottom there. You can see I'm just leaving that tiny little bit of reflected light between this very dark area where it sits on the red and this bit here. Just working in gently there. Okay, I'm going to sharpen my cold grey 1. I'm going to start to pop this on around here at the bottom, and again this is sort of blending everything around this edge. And don't worry, we can deepen everything back up again. This is just sort of giving us a nice bit of a blend. Coming around our little highlight there. It's around the top. And again, just blend in. Okay, again, back to our darkest colour. Coal grey 6, coming over the top. Bringing back some contrast now that we've blended those colours out. Just there. Really dark at that outer edge. Let's just dust off. Over to my Pablo white, and I'm just going to neaten this bit up here, this bit here. Again, let's just dust off. And I'm going to come around the edge and soften this little bit of coal grey here, so that goes a little bit lighter, the coal grey one. Just coming through and blending what I feel I need. We can always just keep working on this. Cold grey 5. Bring a little bit of this in. So it's not quite so dark. It's down there. Tiny little bit in from here. A little bit darker here. There's that little bit of light there. Back to my Pablo white, and I'm just going to diffuse that a little bit. Just there. So I'm just keep working until I'm happy. I'm actually going to go to the black now and just really amp up the contrast on this outside edge. Right around here. Gently as it comes inwards. Oh, my brush is here, not over there. And just making sure this edge is nice and sharp. Bringing a little bit of the black to the underneath there. Just fading that out. Tiny little bit there. Okay, and then what I can do if I want to, if I really want to amp up the white, I can just pop a little bit of white gouache or white Posca or something just over that. So we'll come back to that later, but for now I'm going to leave that as it is. Okay, so I've moved us across a bit and we're going to start working on the wheels now. Now what I want you to note is that the back wheel and the front wheel on the actual train have got a bit of a bad paint job, and there's lots of blobs of red and the silver isn't correct in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the lighting from the center wheel, because that's got the best paint job of the lot, and we're going to use that across the 3 wheels. Okay, so you don't need to look at the other 2, we're just going to concentrate on the center wheel and replicate that across the 3. Okay, so we're going to start with our black, and we're going to start by getting our darkest areas on first as usual, and then working towards our lightest areas. So we need a nice sharp black for this, so make sure it's been done well on the sanding block, and you've got to use the natural arch of your hand when you're drawing to get these nice curved shape. So nice and gentle. Never be afraid to pick your hand up and move it, it's fine. I'm just going to come around the top here. So I'm going to get my curve in first. So we've got this dark area throughout the middle. So I'm going to get my line correct first of all. And just pay close attention to that. And don't forget, we want to be looking at the middle wheel. So working around. Keeping going, so we're going through the center of the wheel. Just making sure everything's correct. Okay, and when we get to here, I'm going to work backwards. And just continuing on. Please just slow down, take your time. So it's worth slowing down and getting this right so that everything looks nice. And then I'm going to move my hand again. This is the most awkward area for me, this bottom part, because I can't turn the page, obviously, because we're filming. So I've just got that line in there, okay? Okay, and now I'm going to start working off it a little bit. So I'm going to start back here. We've got this little bit of a break there, and down here, our black comes inwards. It's a bit thicker. Comes inwards. And it comes all the way to this inside edge here. So I'm just being very careful about this. Where the shadow is. And then popping my line on here. And then we start to get a bit of light coming through again. So I'm just going to follow around. Put my edge on here, because this is a dark edge there. Deepen the colour up a little bit along there. And here, just thickening up this band on one side only, so just on the inside of it to here. And when we hit here, sorry, something just went wrong. When we hit here, we're going to come up, and then we're going to start to deepen the colour on the outside. So bringing a bit of colour off the outside of our line now. So I'm just bringing it out slightly further. So we've got quite a bit of shadow just there. And then back to the top side here. Quite a bit coming towards that edge. And then it narrows back down. I just need to get my hand in the right position. So it narrows down as it comes along the top. And let's have a look. Just round to there. Okay. Okay, now we want to make sure that our pencil is really nice and sharp. In fact, I am going to bring my tracing paper over just a bit more. So I'm going to pop it there so that I can lean on it and not worry. So make sure the pencil's nice and sharp, and we are going to come around the inside edges of those spokes now, making sure that these are correct. Let's just have a look. Okay, and this one here. And this one just here. Okay. Okay, so we've got those edges on, and now what we also want to do is we want to pop a little bit of an edge around the silver area here. So just around the top there. And then also replicate that coming around this edge here. So just coming around. And then we're going to bring off a little bit of shadow here. And here. And just there. And then just move my hand. Okay. So just plotting out all of our dark bits first. Just make sure that's dark enough. Okay. Just having a good look, and now we are going to pop on this edge here, which is gonna just give it a little bit of shadow there. Over here. So it's meeting up with the other lines. So just there. Coming around here. line in. Just create a little bit of shadow there. Making sure everything's sitting correctly. Okay, let's have a look. Following on. Now bearing in mind there's a tiny little bit of a gap there between the cart and the wheel, so let's just pop that line there. Coming back around this side. Let's make this meet up now. And around here. I'm going to deepen up this bit of shadow here. Join in there. And then the last one here. So just there. And that's made the job of coming around that circle just a little bit easier. Just taking a look there. All right, okay. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to put on a little bit of shadow here. So we're also going to just edge that spoke, and this one, and this one. Let me just grab my putty rubber because I just went a little bit off piece there. So let's just gently remove that. Make that better. It's always this bottom corner that I find the most difficult for some reason. It's just the angle of the hand. It's horrible. Okay. This one here. Okay, right, so just going to put a little bit of shadow. Oh, and I forgot that one. Let's put that one on. Just coming down there. And here. So just a couple of little darker areas there. Top of each spoke. This I want very dark, so we'll just deepen that edge there. And again, a little bit more shadow there. And a little bit coming off this side, so we'll put our lines on here. So yeah, just a little bit of shadow coming off there. And I'm just looking to see what's going on here. Dark there. Let's bring a line down here. And this side. Okay, we're going to swap now to our cold grey 6, and we're going to start to build on those shadows in the spokes. So I'm going to come here, go over the top of the black there, and I'm going to start working this downwards. Nice small circular motions towards that edge there. Of course, keeping it darker towards the center of the wheel and lifting the pressure as we get to that outer edge. Same here, darker at the top. So over the top of the shadow we put down with the black. Very gently in here, we want to keep within these spokes, and then lightening the pressure as we come to the bottom there. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So pretty much the same, darker at the top where that shadow was. Just making sure that the edges are correct and that you're within the boundaries. And again, lifting as we come to the bottom there. Okay, coming round to this side. And we've got a little bit of shadow at the top, and then we're going to just lift the pressure in the middle slightly here, and we've got a little bit of shadow at the bottom as well. Okay, moving around, we're going to keep our shadow over here and on this side, and then we're going to lighten over here. Onto this one, shadow at the top, and again down this left hand side, lightening as we come around here, just enhancing that edge a little bit there, deepening it up slightly. It's a bit more red needs to go in there, we can see, but it's okay. Over to this one now. Okay, pretty much the same. Coming around, a little bit of shadow down here. It's coming off there. Just going to bring this out slightly further there. And over here, I've got our shadow in the center, working outwards. And then lifting it a little as we come around here. Just a little bit of depth in there. Okay, let's have a look. So a little bit of shadow on the underside there, just a little bit. Right, let's sharpen that pencil again. Okay, and let's start going over what we've got on the outside. So coming around the edge there. Gently. Bringing a little bit of colour into the white space now, just turning my hand. Okay. And starting to build the colour on the outside edge here. And we need to come around the outside of the wheel now, nice and gently. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got our dark colour, and then we're going to softly build this up. Working a little bit of colour into the white space. Bearing in mind we've got quite a highlight around the top edge. So leaving that bit and just closing it gently there. A little bit of shadow here. And then gently coming around. So looking at the edge of the wheel here. Just there. Quite light around here. So I'm just stroking around. And then on the inside, we can add a little bit of colour in. Just going to rectify that there. Just going to bring a bit of gentle colour in here. And around. Just going to correct the area there. So just taking a good look, seeing what's going on, and following on to the bottom. I'm going to bring some gentle colour in and start to work on the outside edge. Let's have a look. Around the bottom there. Leaving those couple of highlights. to perfect the edge here. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the black now, and I'm going to start to deepen up any areas that I think need to be darker. So I'm coming around here. Adding a bit more colour. Looking at the edges. Making sure everything's nice. Let's just have a look. Keeping the brightest highlights really bright. Around here again. Come around here. And then I'm going to go back over the darkest areas within these spokes. So a little bit there. Back into this central area. Really nice and dark around that there. Bit more depth at the top here. A bit at the side there. Just having a really good look, just building everything up. Just nice and slowly. Okay, let's have a look. And come to the edge of the wheel here. Just there. And I'm just going to build up a little bit more colour in the spokes here. So just perfecting everything. I'm going to bring a bit more colour into the inside there. And around here. Trying to make it all very nice and gentle. Right, let's have a look. A little bit more there. And just a tiny bit more around the outside of that silver bit there. I really want this edge defined. Okay. I'm going to take cold grey 2 now, and I'm going to start blending out the darker highlights. So we're going to start at the bottom here, start working in here. So not cold grey 1, cold grey 2. And of course we can go back and we can darken up, so don't worry about that. So, oh, grab my dusting brush, dust off. Coming up the side here. Okay, and now around this side. And through the bottom there. On the inside here. And through here. Through this area. Avoiding that top highlight, that's our bright highlight there. Just going to touch the edges of that. Coming around here. And just there. Okay, let's give that a bit of a dust, and now we're going to come to our spokes. I'm just going to gently blend these out, staying away from the very darkest areas and concentrating in the highlight and mid-tone areas. And just blending. At the bottom, just here, and in here. Okay, just going to give this a sharpen, and we're now going to come around this area here. Okay, right, now let's go and sharpen our black again. Okay, so let's amp up our darkest areas now. So let's come back around. Now that we've got that nice blend going on, let's just get some really good contrast now. So just concentrating on the very dark bits. And making sure that everywhere is correct still. Okay, so we can just build up around here. We can take this out slightly. It'll slide along that blend layer really nicely. Just gonna make sure this edge is spot on, just there. Okay, working up in here, building a little bit of colour. Working around this edge. just leaving a thin highlight right at the outside there as we come towards our main highlight here. Just gonna work on that edge just a little bit more there, that's better. Okay, just gonna take my Tombow, just give it a tiny bit of a clean and just grab that little bit there, that's better. So just looking to perfect anything that needs doing. Okay, coming around. Any areas of depth that need it. Okay, around the top again. A little bit of depth around there. Softening that outer highlight a little bit. So that top one can really shine. Adding a little bit more colour under there. Okie dokie, right, now let's have a look at our bottom bit. Let's just okay, right, let's have a look underneath our spokes, see if we need to darken anything up around here. Okay, so black is never flat. Black is multifaceted, has lots of lights, lots of darks, and it's never ever just black. Okay, again just looking at this bit, and I'm going to just bring a bit more of a soft shadow out from there now. Down here. There. Just look at this side. Okay, and this spoke here. Just there. Right, so let's sit back and have a look at that. That's looking nice. Okay, so let's put the little silver bit on in the center. So we'll go for a cold grey 4. Just having a look. Just popping a little bit of colour on in the center here. Just around there. And let's have a look. It's quite difficult to see, it's just a little bit there. Okay, and I'm going to use my Pablo white to soften that out. Take it around the edge. Going back to my black and giving it a little bit of a blast on the sanding block. And just making sure with a needle sharp point that has an outline that's thicker on this top area. Just going to remove that little dot there, come off, there we go. I'm going to go back to the cold grey 4 and just ever so slightly just deepen up on that bottom side there. Okay, right, so let's just go around, make sure all our edges are correct while we've got this really nice sharp pointy black. Dust that off. Okie dokie, and I think that I'm happy with that now. Just gonna gently mess a little bit more because I can never help myself. Okay, right, lovely, one wheel done. Okay, so I've just got my dark red and sharpened it, and before we move on to the next wheel, I'm just going to fill in this little bit, just a tiny bit more, this little corner here, just there. Lovely. Okay, right, okay, so we've got to replicate that now across the next 2 wheels, but before we do that, we are going to fill in this little wheel that we can see at the back here. So I'm taking my black, it's really nice and sharp so I can get a nice crisp outline, trying to take care not to disturb anything. Okay, we can see that there's fractionally a little tiny bit of light, so I'm just going to draw those on, and I'm going to fill in this area with black. So a nice crisp line from the red there. It's just dust off. Another one here. So gently coming around, filling in a nice sharp point. Okay, let's just have a look. Just going to alter my position. Just making sure the wheel is correct there. That curve. Okay, I'm going to sharpen my Caput Mortem Violet. I'm going to come over the top of the black with this. And that is going to serve to deepen up, add a bit more saturation. Okay. Back to my black. Just got this little bit here, and I just want to thicken it up so slightly. There we go, that's better. Right, lovely. Okay, that little bit is done. So while we're at it, we may as well fill in the bit at the back here as well. And then both of those bits are done. Let's come across the edges first. And here. And then fill in. So I'm pressing a decent amount here so that I don't have to do lots of layers. Because it's such a small area, you can get away with it. Just going in there. Okay, again, let's go in with the Caput Morton Violet. Just add a bit of extra depth to that black. And just gently back over the top. Make sure it's all correct. Lovely.